No matter how tough the challenge, how high the obstacles, we always overcome.
What Nigerians need now is not about the done thing. Who can come and salvage us from where we are?
Every day, our lives are changed by history.
We are one people, all of us.
Leaders, politics.
Nobody's ambition is what the blood.
I have fought a battle.
Representing people. Mr. President, my people are under siege.
I will place economic stability and confidence.
We will condemn this act and call for the immediate release of this minister in the temple of God.
Give us access to our money we put in the bank. The POS operator, she said 50,000 is 1,000 to collect 3,000 naira. Where are we heading to?
I've always said there are two sets of people on earth, the oppressors and the oppressed. And in between are the cowards and the hypocrites. Which are you?
No matter how tough the challenge, how high the obstacles, we always.
All right, welcome back to 18's Open Conversation, and it's time. A community leader and the chieftain of the People's Democratic. Good to have you on the show this morning.
Thank you. Good morning. My pleasure.
You can say I'm smiling. And we have the constitutional man himself. We're able to catch him today at his live in our studio, none other than Barrister Sim Adams. Good to have you here this morning.
Good morning to you, Vivian. Good morning to Nigerians.
And there's a constitutional issue in this story today. And then you have your books right on the desk.
Of course, yes, we are ready for them.
I hope you all are ready because we are. So let's start off from the first part of the conversation. A human rights lawyer, Palumi Olajengbasi, threatens a lawsuit if an indigene from the Federal Capital Territory is omitted from the ministerial list. He went on to 99 Constitution on Federal Character Principle to promote national unity, foster national loyalty, and give every citizen of Nigeria a sense of belonging to the nation. Olajengbasi further stated that it would be hypocrisy for the APC government not to allot a ministerial slot to the FCT after the party considered the FCT as a state and not a different entity in arguing the required 25% of votes in the February 25th presidential election. Well, he said it's important for us to bring to your notice, everyone, that the House of Representatives recently urged President Tinubu to appoint an indigene of the FCT as minister following the resolution and adoption of the motion co-sponsored by Honorable Abdulrahman Ajia and Honorable Gaza Jonathan Bafwi. Well, it's also important to bring to your notice that since Nigeria's return to democracy in 1999, no indigene of the Abuja has been appointed FCT minister yet. Political parties use the FCT as state to get the required constitutional votes to win presidential election. Well, just a few here. Past FCT ministers include Ibrahim Bunu, May 1999 to February 2001, Borno State, Mohammed Abba Ghana. Well, there's basically been people appointed, but the question they're asking right now is for their people to be on that side. Let me start from you. Speaking of the need for indigenous participation in politics, this is a forte for you as a matter of fact. The arguments that Olajengbasi is making here, how critical is it if we are to look at where we are politically?
Vivian, thank you. Good morning, once again. I think the lawyer who has written this piece here may not be alone. I'm sure that there may be some other persons that are hearing through his voice. But be that as it may, I'm happy that a constitutional lawyer is here in the studio today. But perhaps to do justice to that when it comes to constitutional issues. But as a layman, as a Nigerian who is conversant with the federal character, how we say that the lawyer who has called for inclusiveness of the people of FCT is not demanding for too much, something that is not, or something that is against the norms of the country. FCT is constitutionally the 37th state in Nigeria. It's a federative unit in a way, even though it may not have a minister is always appointed in insisting that somebody from
an indigenous
must be FCT minister in particular. If that is what is demanded, if the need be.
Let's look at past FCT ministers from the list that we have here. We have Ibrahim Bunu, May 1999 to February 2010. He's from Borno State. Mohammed Abba Gana, February 2001 to July 2003 from Borno State. Nasri Ahmad El Rifai to July 2003 to July 2007, Kaduna State. Aliyu Modibo Umar, July 2007 to October 2008, Gombe State. Mohammed Adamu Alero, December 2008 to April 2010, Kebbi State. Balak Mohammed, Bauchi State. Mohammed Musa Bello, 2015, Adamawa State.
That has come from the south, from the names I'm seeing here.
Thank you.
You found out that all the names of the FCT immediate and past ministers, even during the military era, are all from a particular section of the country, which I will say without fear or favor, from the northern part of Nigeria. I'm not an ethnic jingoist. I don't believe in, that I carry that tripod of ethnicity where I go to, but there should be equity in what we are doing. If we say that FCT, other ethnic groups in Nigeria, and even religious people should partake in that ministership of FCT, meaning that it's a miniature Nigerian. Now, where majorly he's drawing all these things from, because like a chief said, if he's talking about a minister that is origin from FCT to become FCT minister, then I think that is out of it for me. But majorly where I'm concerned is I didn't want to, kind of upstage the apple cart, because the issue of the status of the FCT is before the electoral tribunal or court right now. That is scoring 25% of it. Now, if you look at what the Constitution says about the status of FCT, without mincing words, is that Section 299, which he quoted very well here, said that for the purpose of this Constitution of Nigeria, on the leg of his argument is that FCT be described as a state by virtue of Section 299. It behoves that by virtue of Section 14 sub 3, the president must look at the national spread and include that spread to touch FCT being a state of the federal government of Nigeria. And if you look at also Section 42 that he quoted, he said, and if you look at, he said that if you shall not be discriminated against, by virtue
of the candidate of the Labour Party in the February 25th, 2023 House of Representatives election, Mr. Ngozi Okolie, as the member representing Aniocha Oshimili constituency of Delta State. The tribunal delivering the judgment that lasted over 5 hours on Monday. The three-member tribunal headed by Justice A.Z. Musa granted the petitioner's prayer that the second respondent, Okolie, was not duly sponsored by the third respondent, Labour Party, as he was not a member of the party as of May 28, 2022, when the primary purportedly held. So the tribunal further ruled that Okolie did not resign from public office to contest the elections.
For now, the music that is playing from his mouth is that democracy is on trial. We are aware that he is one on trial under democracy. Be that as it may, the last time I came here, when we were discussing the issue as it borders Ahmed Bola Tinubu, Atiku Abubakar, and P2B, I made a reference, if you remember, that one of the leadership of political party that your political party shall, the word used there, shall, and shall in legal language means because you know what was not one of the popular political party in Nigeria before P2B joined. And majority of the people who, you know, we are running in under Labour Party, we are just trying to say, okay, let's just go and try our luck. They never knew that Labour Party was going to be popular, so they did not actually lay a proper foundation. So we are still, you know, holding their offices where they were working, because I'm sure for your previous office 3 months before the time the law provided, so I stand to be corrected. So majority of them, you know, having seen that, look, Labour Party is now popular and there are spaces for people to fill, they now run to Labour Party, not knowing that the third eyes are somewhere they are watching at them. Because some of them, like the likes of Ndudelu Melu, is an old politician who has gone through the thick and things of political activities, who knows that maybe his opponent may have some flaws somewhere, and decided to allow him to run with him. And at the end of the day, it's okay, you have won, let's go to the other side, where it will be determined whether you comply the evidences before them. I have seen that Honorable Ngozi did not resign appropriately,
yes,
and was not also sponsored
by the
party.
party.
Because saying that you are a member of APC, PDP, or Labour Party is not enough. Those things that are supposed to be done, because it is not just a joke or a mere fun for INEC to say submit list of your party member. There is a reason for that.
Yeah, but how did Labour Party, knowing that they submitted the list of Honorable Ngozi Okoli?
Yeah.
So how did it now happen that I keep saying she, my name is on the primary. Can't you just look at it? So there was no need to go to court because it came from us. Now, if INEC is supposed to monitor the primaries, and they know they didn't monitor the primaries for Honorable Okoli, Ngozi Okoli, and Labour Party know that they did not submit the name of Honorable Ngozi Okoli as a candidate, or there was no primaries basically, how then did he get on INEC's database as a candidate if INEC did not have a record of monitoring that primary? That's on one side. But we're talking about going to the appeal right now. Secondly, if we also at the point where we'll say, okay, let's go to appeal, maybe appeal will have an answer. Is the appeal going to nullify everything that the state's high court had done, tribunal had done, in the sense that they did it with clear evidence? You did not meet this, you did not meet this, and these are clear. So you're the constitution man here, help us out.
Yes, thank you very much. See, with cornucopial objectivism, I must state my point, which may be slightly divergent from the popular held opinions. The first one concerning INEC not throwing away papers filed before them that are incongruent and inconsistent, with the Constitution. I would liken it to a court registrar. If I bring a frivolous application before the court and I want to file it in the registry, what the registrar of a court will do is to go through it to say, okay, a motion, you have your affidavit and your written address, these three components are together, you have your exhibits all put together, it okays it. He does not go through the kernel of your submission, because that is not his duty. Yeah. So the duty of the registrar is to look at, to make sure that Form EC1, Form EC2, Form EC3, Form EC4, and its attachments are attached together. Once he has all those things in place, he takes it and sends to wherever he's sending to.
So irrespective of the fact that they didn't monitor.
That's right. That is what I'm saying. So the court, for instance, yes, the courts in this instance, like the example I made, is that once the registrar, finds that all components of a motion are together, he okays and say, go and pay filing fee. you pay your filing fee. P2B, Atiku Abubakar, every other person, including Okoli, including the Sokoli of Labour Party or any other party at all, they display them for you to go and see. You can even go. What politicians normally do is to send their lawyers to INEC, portal to go and look at what Tinubu filed, his certificates, to look at his job resume, etc., whether they are in order. If these things are in order, he will not raise any eyebrow. If these things are not in order, he can rush to court immediately in what they call pre-election matter. It is the duty of the other candidates to raise issues that this man is not qualified to went to that election, because he ought to have seen it, because these particular documents were not filed after 25th of February. So Elumelu should have gone to challenge it at the pre-election matter, to challenge it that is a pre-election matter, that this man cannot even go and contest with me. That is number one. Number two, post-election matter is after election. That is what he did for now, I believe he's doing. The second question I want to ask, and I want to ask the courts to determine, is that if you go to section 66 of the 65 of the Constitution, it only says qualification. For you to qualify to be a candidate of a party or contest election, you must have fulfilled all these things. A political party must sponsor you. A political party must sponsor you. Which means that if a political party like Labour Party has said, I am sponsoring this man for the election, technically speaking, can anybody come to begin to question whether the name of the man was on the register of Labour Party or the case may be? That is what it's just my own opinion. Because what section 65 says, I can read it to you, and that particular subsection that is put in 65 sub 2b is saying is that you must have been sponsored by a political party. And that is where they are hinging the argument. If Labour Party now comes out to say, I sponsored Mr. Okoli, do you understand? Does Mr. Okoli need to prove another this more than this? Whereas Labour Party has not denied that they sponsored him. These are questions the court will answer, and these are questions I want to find out how the law. You cannot be held or seen to that would have been able to challenge Okoli. But you see what I'm trying to say is
so
this.
basically it's too early to celebrate.
It's too early to celebrate.
All right,
I don't want any person to see himself as a behemoth and having that behemothian powers to now weigh in on the tribunal to use the influence to go back to House of Assembly. Labour won that particular this in election in Delta State.
All right, just a quick one.
Quick one.
We monitored it.
Interesting times ahead.
Yeah, interesting times.
We do respect to
married with a lovely okay.
We do respect to my brother and colleague here, StarTimes.
Yes.
Please permit me to have some rejoinder with you.
Yes, no we are okay. We are okay, sir.
Thank you very much. You see, the issue here is purely an issue of law and constitution.
Yes.
What the law is and not what the law ought to be. And looking at the whole issue surrounding Elumelu and Honorable Ngozi, you will not see that it is an issue that is before the court. And the question, one of the questions you raise here is whether the name of Ngozi is contained in the in all essence. What I'm trying to say here is that Nigerian Constitution has no provision for independent candidature to run election. Meaning that for you to run any election, you must be sponsored by a political party. And there are rules for which political parties must or shall bring you before INEC, who is the referee, to conduct a particular election, which I'm sure the tribunal may have looked at those areas and has discovered that, look, Honorable Ngozi, you did not pass through this route. Instead of coming from
representing people, Mr. President, my people are under siege.
I will place economic stability and confidence.
To condemn this act and call for the immediate release of this minister in the Temple of Justice.
Give us access to our money we put in the bank. The POS operator, she said 3,000 naira is 1,000 to collect 3,000 naira. Where are we heading to?
I've always said there are two sets of people on earth, the oppressors and the oppressed. And in between are the cowards and the hypocrites. Which are you?
No matter how tough the challenge, how high the obstacles, we always overcome.
What Nigerians need now is not about the Tonte. Who can come and salvage us from where we are?
Everybody's ambition is what the blood.
I have fought very firmly. Natural occurrence, war, and the world economy.
I belong to everybody.
Representing people. Mr. President, my people are under siege.
I will place economic stability and confidence.
To condemn this act and call for the immediate release of this minister in the Temple of Justice.
Give us access to our money we put in the bank. The POS
Oppressed. And in between are the cowards and the hypocrites. Which are you?
No matter how tough the challenge, how high the obstacles, we always overcome.
All right, welcome back to ATN's Open Conversation. Let's quickly get to Adamawa State. We're told that the former vice president reportedly escaped death following report by Nigerian police and confirmation of arrest of two suspected Boko Haram terrorists on a mission to attack the former vice president.
The most interest of those in government from that time till now, the issue of security, I don't know, it's not be tackled. So for me, it's worrisome for me. Not just because it's an Atiku Abubakar, but because of the fact that at this point that Boko Haram can still have that audacity, to begin to go for, men of that character and caliber.
All right, thank you very much, Chief. So let's take a quick one from you as well. What do you think could be the motivation behind this attack?
You see, when you hear of this kind of terrorist attacks from time to time in our country, during the attack, if it was the usual, even if it is 100 persons killed, nobody would have been held responsible for it. And I was even surprised. Just a minute. I was even surprised because when after elections like this, you hear that Atiku Abubakar has gone back to the other side. Now that the man has tried to stay in Nigeria, maybe because of the tribunal.
Please, of the mic.
No, they should allow the man. Then we'll go to Dubai, so we'll go to America, so we'll go to wherever they have their mansions to stay, and the problem of Nigeria will not be solved. So they should allow them to be here with us. They should stop.
Motala Yakubu Ajaka. The office, which is located at John Holt Road beside Hapso Petroleum Limited Lokoja, was set on fire while some residents were, including important documents. This is coming after the armed thugs set ablaze vehicles parked inside the secretariat before attacking security men stationed at the premises. SB Deputy Governorship candidate Sam Ranti Abenami also accused members of the All Progressive Congress of being responsible, adding that one of the state governor's senior special advisors spearheaded the burning of the campaign office. Now, this is. Let me come back to you again, Chief. This is. Did he really see? Did Abenami really see the person he's accusing, or is this just one of those conversations, as disturbing as those images we just saw on our screen is, throwing this accusation when the police is
condemn this act? It's very barbaric, very condemnable, and something struck me when you brought the picture of that building. I saw something that looks like a renewed hope. And renewed hope was one of the president's is our president's slogan.
This is renew hope, maybe not renewed.
Something is cutting somewhere there. So whether renew or renew,
but you're seeing SDP, but you're also seeing SDP logo.
Yes, I'm seeing SDP. So that is to tell you that there is a relationship, or there may be a relationship between SDP and APC. And I know that APC is the government in power in Kogi State. That is by the way.
Okay.
On a general note, I want to say that, going back to what I stated before, that the responsibility of any government is to protect them. That is their primary responsibility. Now, if you tell me that over time in a state governed by human being that something like this will happen, and the governor of the state is unable to detect is aware of the people or group of or cannot be in a rural community, it must be in possibly Lokoja, the capital of Kogi State. So what I'm trying to say is that we can,
when we talk about security here, even if it's just 1 minute, let's see what we can make so we can get into others. Killings and all that is going on. If the deputy governorship candidate for SDP, should that conversation should just be pushed down? Isn't it time that Yahaya Bello actually gets to step up and begin to do something about this?
See, thank you very much. I want to say that what is going on in Kogi State is not different from what went on in River State. It's not also different from what has been going are being contested. You see, the unbridled want and sarcasm for power to suck more from the only state that is hemorrhaging is just too much in Nigeria here. Now, if you look at the European Union, report that they gave, the observer mission report that they gave, people are concentrating on INEC, but they have forgotten that part of that report
seem opposed to the clinching the coveted position. Let me just save the time with the narration now. The person at the North Central Zone that is at the fore of opposing Ganduje is Lukman.
To be a national chairman is maybe Yaro as independent the party. I would say that Ganduje shouldn't be one of those, considering the way the colossal loss of APC in Kano State. That is one. However, he is a Nigerian with experience based on his the public offices he has occupied. The law has given him the right to vote and be voted for, to appoint and to be appointed in various offices. So he has the right to vie to lobby for any office in Nigeria. But looking at the name Ganduje, if our country is a country that considers that because of one particular scam that was against him, which was almost proven on dollar, that alone would have made APC to think twice before saying that this man should come and occupy a public position that is not just a Kano State position, but is a position that represents APC in the whole of the Nigeria. That is one. Two, the man that was in that position, Senator Adamu, was from the North Central Benue State, and before he became there were a lot of calculations before he assumed office. If Ganduje assumes now, it's going to change the calculation of positions in APC. So I'm thinking that the Lukman who is challenging him is at the right position to say that, look, this man was serving us from Benue State, and there was a reason why he was picked from Benue State to represent that particular zone. Why not send it back to him? But the only reservation I have here is that you know, in politics you can't get it all. After all, Benue State is also the secretary to the federation now. So if this one should slip them, they shouldn't also cry so much. You know, they have gotten something from APC-led federal government. However, if it is not going to be in Benue State, because perhaps APC government through President Tinubu has given them the office of the Secretary of the Federation, it shouldn't be Ganduje, because the records of Ganduje in the country is not a palatable one. This is a personal opinion.
Well, political pundits are also asking if he has the national spread to bring the party together. We wish them the very best. I'll keep bringing you all the conversation. Well, the People's Democratic Party in Benue State has warned that any attempt by All Progressive Congress-led state government to tamper with justice at the governorship election petition tribunal sitting in Makodi will be resisted of one of the senior staff in his government who was buried a few days ago within the state, but will deem it fit to attend the one-year remembrance mass in honor of the late Prince Pa Eke Shepnan, son of the President of the Court of Appeal, Justice Monica Bolnans Dongban Mensam in Shendam local government area of Plateau State. He also said the PDP in the state view the leaping of the governor round the Court of Appeal president with deep suspicion, adding that the governor is having his election challenged by the great party before the Benue State Governorship Election Petitions Tribunal sitting in Makodi. I like the line where he said the great party, but I don't know the one that is not great party. But on a more serious note, Barrister Adams, this issue being raised right now should worry everyone. Well, the appeal court judge is having his son's one-year burial anniversary, and now the governor left.
And how it rots at eating it to them. In the 70s, you cannot see this kind of thing happen. The judges and magistrates were regarded as deities. You dare not go near them, and they don't go near you. You know?
So it raise the issue of bias.
Yes, the PDP has a point here for me.
All right, that's okay. I hope the Reverend Hyacinth Ali, the Reverend gentleman in Benue State, he takes note. Well, the All Progressive, stop laughing. He's a Reverend.
In America, just Jackson.
Let's go to Edo State. We'll come back to Reverend Ali. The All Progressive Congress in Osun State has filed a lawsuit. This is very interesting. Has filed a lawsuit against Governor Adeleke for appointing himself as Commissioner for Works in Osun State. So, in the suit filed against Governor Adeleke, his deputy Adewusi, Osun State Attorney General and Commissioner for Justice, has the Osun State House of Assembly as first, second, third, and fourth respondent. I just want to stop here. We don't have all the time.
All right.
Let me start from you, Chief.
Vivian, let me assume the position of a judge here now. Let me assume the position of a judge here now.
We have the constitution, man, who is going to give us the constitution.
It's an aberration, because under 183 sub 1, it's as I'm saying, procedurally, you may say it's proper because that is what we do in Nigeria here, but constitutionally, is that it's arguable to say that they have breached that particular section of the Constitution of Section 183. That is, I'm coming. If you give me just a minute to explain this, you shall not hold any executive office. The commissioner of, in a cabinet, is an executive state office. That's why you have state executive council, federal executive council. So if you are a commissioner, it's another one, and that commissioner in the position, you derive remuneration. He might not collect it, but a commissioner ought to be paid for that position.
But how do we even know that he will not collect it?
That is what I'm saying. That is the second one I want to say.
There is no record for that.
There's the second one I want to say. I want to say with due respect, if you go to that section again,
not hold any other office.
It's not holding another office.
But he's a commissioner for what?
The commissioner is under him.
No.
Every ministry is
the commissioner.
No. Every ministry in government is under the governor.
But you know that
every ministry is under him.
But you know that in the ministerial aspect of
let me also read section 14.
There's a senior minister and there's a